Good evening, you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We're going to start off with the JNU attack that happened on Sunday evening. At least 16 people were injured after violence broke out in JNU campus. Now, the JNU SU has alleged that the ABVP members allegedly stopped students from eating non-vegetarian food in the hostel mess and created a violent atmosphere. The ABVP, however, has denied the charge and claimed that JNUSU obstructed a puja program organized at the hostel on Ram Navami. Now, both sides have accused each other of throwing stones and injuring their members. Subsequently, an FIR has been registered now based on a complaint filed by members of JNUSU, SFI, DSF and ISA early this morning against unknown ABVP students. Also in the news, according to ANI, members of the All India Students Association were detained today by the police for protesting outside the police headquarters against a scuffle that broke out between the two groups in JNU yesterday. There's also a statement that's come in from JNU admin. The administration has broken its silence today and said that the scuffle had in fact begun with some students objecting to the holding of havan inside the Kaveri hostel on the occasion of Ram Navami, an allegation that's been made by the ABVP group. Now, JNU Registrar Ravikesh has said that it had been clarified that there was no bar on serving non-vegetarian food. There's also a comment that's coming from Delhi Home Minister who has said that the incident is unfortunate. It's not just ANU, but on Ram Navami, there have been communal clashes in several states. We start off with Madhya Pradesh, where parts of Madhya Pradesh were placed under curfew after violence and arson during a Ram Navami procession. In Gujarat, communal clashes took place in Anand district's Khambat and Sabarkantha district's Himatnagar. One person has died. In Bengal's Howrah, policemen were positioned in large numbers after reports of clashes during a Ram Navami procession in the Shibpur area. Also, several people were reportedly injured after stone pelting and arson during Ram Navami procession in Jharkhand's Lohadharga. Now, Section 144 of the CRPC was also imposed in the area. News agency NI has reported that one man succumbed to the injuries. According to a report by Herald Goa, violence broke out in Goa's Vasco town as well after stones were allegedly hurled at a two-wheeler procession. Meanwhile, in an update on the Hanuman Chalisa versus Azan row that's going on, 4 MNS workers have been detained by Mumbai police for playing Hanuman Chalisa outside Shiv Sena Bhawan in Dadar. Now, the loudspeakers were installed in a taxi and was played outside the Shiv Sena Bhavan. Earlier, MNS chief Raj Thackeray had said that if loudspeakers were not removed from mosques, then his party workers will play Hanuman Chalisa outside the mosque. Moving on, news coming in from Jharkhand. As of 8 p.m. today, 3 people died after a cable car accident mid-air in Jharkhand's Deoghar district. Now, about 27 people were rescued and at least 20 more are awaiting to be rescued, according to reports. Officials have said that the mishap occurred on Sunday evening after the Tirkut Pahad area in Deoghar. Now, personnel of Indo-Tibetan Border Police, Indian Army, Indian Air Force and NDRF are going on with the rescue operations. Meanwhile, in Jaipur, amid the Karoli violence that injured at least 35 people during a religious procession, the administration has now imposed Section 144 for a month till the 9th of May. Now, gathering of crowds, protests, assemblies and processions without prior permission in the entire rural and urban area will not be allowed. Several shops were burnt and many people were injured in arson and stone pelting in Karoli city on the 2nd of April. Also in the news, Maharashtra Home Minister Dilip Walse Patil has urged people of all communities to maintain peace and harmony and help the police in maintaining law and order in the state. Now, this comes after almost 25 vehicles were vandalized in Mumbai's Mankhurd area by unknown miscreants. Dilip Walse Patil has said that members of some political parties have been giving provocative statements which could increase enmity between Hindus and Muslims. Moving on now, in Delhi, auto and taxi drivers staged a protest outside the Delhi Secretariat today, demanding subsidy on CNG prices. Now, they also threatened to go on an indefinite strike from the 18th of April if their demands are not met. Now, General Secretary of Delhi Auto Rickshaw Sangh, Rajendra Soni, has said, and I quote, CNG is now sold at a price above 69 rupees per kg, which is unprecedented. We are demanding that the government, centre and state should provide 35 rupees per kg subsidy on CNG prices so that we can survive, end quote. Meanwhile, in Andhra Pradesh, according to a report by NDTV, protests erupted at several locations in Andhra Pradesh as Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy's new cabinet has taken oath. Now, several leaders were unhappy as they were not included. Now, this new cabinet includes 11 members of the previous cabinet that was dissolved on the 7th of April, besides 14 other fresh faces. Also in the news, Tamil Nadu has adopted a resolution urging the centre to withdraw the proposal to conduct common university entrance test for admission to courses offered by central universities. Now, opposing this resolution, the BJP has staged a walkout. Other parties supported the resolution. The resolution has been adopted unanimously. Moving on to business news right now. Although petrol and diesel prices have remained steady over the last couple of days, Brent crude oil has dipped over 3% to crash below $100 per barrel at $99.63 per barrel today. However, petrol prices in India, like I said, has remained steady for the fourth consecutive day. Crude oil had soared $130 per barrel in March. On to international news, starting off with what's happening in Pakistan. Shehbaz Sharif has been elected as Pakistan's new Prime Minister, succeeding Imran Khan, who was removed by a no-trust vote on Saturday. Now, Shehbaz Sharif is the 70-year-old brother of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and the leader of the opposition PMLN. Now, former Prime Minister Imran Khan resigned as a member of the National Assembly, saying he will not sit in the assemblies with thieves. His party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, boycotted the voting and lawmakers staged a walkout. And in Sri Lanka, according to Reuters, 3 members of the ruling alliance have proposed forming an interim government. Now, this comes a week after President Gotabaya Rajapaksa called for unity administration amid unrest and a severe economic crisis. In the meantime, in his speech, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has said that his government is working round the clock to overcome the crisis and called for people's patience. An update on Ukraine right now. Russian Foreign Minister has said that Moscow will not pause its military operation in Ukraine before the next round of peace talks. Now, Russia's defense ministry has announced that Russia has destroyed S-300 anti-aircraft missile systems which had been supplied to Ukraine by a European country. In the meantime, Ukraine President Zelensky has said that Russia is concentrating tens of thousands of soldiers for its next offensive in eastern Ukraine. Now, according to the World Bank, Ukraine's economy will contract by 45.1% this year due to the conflict with Russia. In its report, the World Bank has said that the war is set to inflict twice the amount of economic damage across Europe and Central Asia the COVID pandemic did. And one piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin: Mumbai has got its first public toilet for members of the transgender community in Goregaon's RA Colony in Ombul Garden. Now, it has been set up by Sarthi Foundation, an NGO working towards upliftment of the underprivileged in the health and education sector, and mostly to address gender discrimination. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.